Hey, everybody, on today's show, he is back. One of our favorites, Eddie Danger, is going to hang out with us for the whole hour. We're going to catch up with him, see what he's been up to and all that good stuff. So grab a drink and enjoy the show. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Who Invited Her. We are San Diego's LGBTQ pop culture podcast. I'm your host, Tony, and I'm here with my other co-host. Say hi, Bashi. I'm not going to be mean to you today.
Hi, Bashi.
Bitch.
You don't have any.
No,
you don't have any
I
fucking
didn't
insults for me?
prepare my insults for either
Okay,
of you
great.
today. And Party Bear Eric is here this week. Hi, Eric.
Hi, everyone.
And the man running the show, Robbie's here. Say hi,
Hey, everybody. I'm here, too.
And he's back. He's been on the show so many times. One of our favorite guests from the show, Eddie Danger, is here for the whole episode. Hi, Eddie. Welcome back.
Hello. How's it going? What's up, everybody? Hello, San Diego.
Yes, Eddie is going to be hanging out with us for the whole show. We're going to get into what you've been up to because it's been a hot minute since you've been on the show. I think the last time you were on was right when we got into quarantine, and it was all this corona shit was all brand new.
Yeah, I was all excited about the new life changes that I could make, like in private. But then, like, once I think you get over that, like you say, this is the new normal. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate all that bullshit. It sounds weird to say, but if that's the way my life's gonna be, then I guess that you start to like just say, well, let's start doing adventures within this reality. And then it kind of blew up for me, and weirder things have been going on.
Which we're going to get into.
Yeah.
But the first thing I want to talk about, Eddie, you are looking amazing. Like, the body is like crazy. And didn't you go
Thank you.
vegan or vegetarian, right?
It kind of. So like alcoholism. So I went sober. I quit drinking and all that shit. And I think I talked about that last time. And I also think my camera, since I'm looking at this right now, I think it's in that, like, I got the big camera, so I think it's in that super zoom. So like as my hands get closer to the screen, and you know, I use this when I film porn, because when you pull back, it makes your dick look like it's a mile long.
Which is key for
like,
porn.
look
Look
at
at that. Look at that.
Tricks of the trade. Ooh, I love it. It's like VR porn.
We talked about that last week,
Tony's-
VR porn.
Tony's
But look at us.
experience with that.
I know, like, years into the future, we're going to be watching this being like, look at these. Oh, look how things
I
were
know,
back then.
right?
They were all surprised about their long fingers.
So wait, what is this fitness journey you've been on? Because if anybody hasn't checked out Eddie's Twitter, Instagram, social, I mean, the six pack, everything. Like, when did this start and why? And how did you go about doing it? Because I'm sure people want to know.
Okay, well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just naturally the way my metabolism works and the way I kind of exist. But I will tell you, hardcore and long. People are listening to me right now. And long intimacy sessions that last like 6 hours at a time, and I do that about 3 times a week.
What?
Yeah.
Like full-on sex
how
sessions, intimacy for 6 hours? You
Wow.
are crazy.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 times a week. But it's like, it's such a core workout. It gets your back going. So my back's really toned up, and I've been really fortunate. And that pairing that with sobriety and then the vegan thoughts. Now I'm attacking that the same way that I'm doing the sobriety slant, because I'm saying, well, and of course I haven't touched liquor in public. Yeah. So I'm giving myself that sort of leeway if that happens. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do this whole cut and dry nonsense, because in the past I always did that, and I was like, I would feel like a failure if I felt temptation. Yeah. So in this regard, but see what I found more pressure in, it's always like, if I'm gonna live a vegan lifestyle, I don't want to be the motherfucker that goes and is like out on a date or something, and they say, oh, well, you're vegan, we can't go here, or we can't do this, or we can't. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna make people suffer because I want to live a certain way. So I'll be like, I'll eat some turkey, but at this point, I've like changed my diet so severely that looking at a piece of pizza makes me feel kind of sick. You know, I was driving this a co-star home yesterday, and we were talking about our cravings, and we usually do because we, like I said, we go on for like quite a long time, and we're always very hungry on the way home. And I used to cruise back and be like, man, I would really love my wonton soup. It's gonna be amazing. Fuck yeah. Oh, I love that. Ooh, I'm dreaming about some General Tso chicken. But now this time I'm like they say, oh, I'm gonna get a pizza, and I'm like, ooh.
You're like, no. Yeah. Now you're like, ooh, broccoli. Yeah, give me some broccoli.
I did the same thing. I gave up like carbs and alcohol.
Yeah, and you're a nightmare.
Weed. And now I had like pasta and pizza. And today I'm like, I just want a fucking salad.
A salad.
Like, it made me sick yesterday.
Yeah. And it's like, it's for some reason it's hydrating. And it's weird how your mind just reconfigures if you just detach from all that shit.
It's very true.
But then I went out in public. And so when I would go out in public, and like I was explaining, like people would say, oh, well, we can't do this because you're I'll be like, no, no. We could split the pizza. I'll just have my little section. As much as I can eat, you just bear with me. It's cool. Yeah. So like that, and I kept that sort of idea with the sobriety, but it hasn't happened because I haven't made myself available to people. But every time I've been in public, like when I went to these drag brunches or something, I would be accosted by people that are ripping off their masks. They clearly haven't stopped drinking throughout the entire year of isolation because they're bloated, their eyes are glassy.
Right.
I
feel very attacked. I feel very attacked, Jenny. How dare you?
I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. I can't see you, Tony. I can't judge you.
Oh, that's fine. No, but it's
how can you not see him? He's taking
shut the fuck up, Ash.
Well, no, they haven't put me over. Can I see him? Can I evaluate Tony real quick?
No. Yeah, Tony, take off your glasses. Let's see your eyes.
Why my eyes? Because they're puffy?
I can't see them. Oh,
I'm kidding.
Anyway.
But speaking of the fitness stuff, Robbie and I have been on our own like fitness journey starting at probably December. We started this.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, we went off of all carbs, sugar, and we were doing super, super healthy eating, like lots of vegetables and stuff. But the minute we started introducing pizza and stuff back, it literally, your body cannot take it. It like makes you sick.
And you know what? And listen, I'm not chain smoking like crazy, but I had to light one up while we were waiting because I went in. I had some Panera today because I hadn't eaten all day and I've been moving boxes and shit. I just moved into like a townhouse or whatever. So I was like moving boxes and I was like in pain because, you know, this whole vegetarian vegan shit makes you weak. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to go get like a sandwich or something. So I got some Panera, crammed that in my face, and my belly, I was pregnant all of a sudden.
You had a food baby.
I was like, oh my God. And one thing I always knew is that like if I lit up a cigarette, that would make me feel a little better. I think it gets your body working. So I was like, oh my God. You know, now I feel a little better.
How has during this whole COVID thing, the whole porn industry's changed for you in filming now? And like, I mean, you are big on OnlyFans. So I mean, did you switch most of it over to OnlyFans, or are you still doing?
No, I don't have an OnlyFans. I do just for fans.
So, that's what it is.
Just for fans, yeah.
Loyalty, baby. Loyalty. Like, I'm not fucking with anybody else. But the problem is I see all these morons trying to hop on that stuff. And what I noticed is everybody was trying to get on that at the same time. That like nobody wanted to subscribe to anything. And even getting it, there are so many scams that are being run by those motherfuckers in that whole like enterprise. You've got people that are doing shout outs for shout outs, pin for pin. I don't want to be involved with that. If you like me, you found me elsewhere, and then you come to me and you stand with me, you know? I like, it's none of this fucking share for share bullshit. And I've never tried to take other people's followers. They come to me, you know, and that's one thing. And it's been consistent since I started. I've always maintained, like, sure, I've made more as time goes on, but I don't lose money. Like, I never go down in the amount of money that I make, because generally people that are there, they want to be there. And if they do have a like curiosity subscription, it's usually for anal week or something like
anal week. There's a whole week dedicated to anal. What?
Yeah, all anal all the time. Yeah.
As there should be.
As it should be, exactly.
Well, no. For the 12 dongs of Christmas, I saw a severe uptick because we were testing a new dong every day.
That's right. So you into sex toys? Yeah.
Oh my God.
But are you still filming with studios and stuff like that?
Well, no, I went down to Fort Lauderdale. It was a weird situation where I was already going down there anyway. and plans changed, but basically what happened was hop off the plane, they throw me in a car, they drove me all the way down to talent testing where they do the test for the STDs, and they also did a COVID test. So I knew everybody was good to go, although Fort Lauderdale is certainly a hot spot for nefarious COVID super spreading activity right now. So I did notice a lot of that going on. And baby, it's funny how this thing changes you, because I'm the guy who goes to gangbangs. You know, I'm the guy who hosts orgies. Meanwhile, I'm busy clutching my pearls, walking around these nightclubs because I see 5 men making out with each other. I'm like, how dare
you?
How are you doing that? I saw at least 5 men's saliva up in the air, and I was I'm out of here. So I go run.
Yeah.
Anyway, but when I was down there, we did a scene with there's like people right over. I did a scene where it was actually pretty unique. I could tell this story, I think. So there was this guy who's like, we did a penis. The first day I was there, we did the penis talk show.
Okay, what is that? Let us know what that is, because we were talking briefly before the show, and I'm like, save it for the show. Penis talk show? Okay, go.
Yeah. So it was just at the time when the Hey Queen episode came out, and I think
which you were great on. If anybody go check out Hey Queen on YouTube, Johnny McGovern, you great. It was good seeing you get interviewed instead of coming out and go dancing like you have on Hey Queen, and you did their Look at Ha, which was really good. Yeah.
Well, the thing about all that stuff is that I wasn't prepared for that. I thought I was going to come in and it was going to be all cock talk and all that stuff. You know, I didn't realize I was going to get sucker punched with the books and the personality and then of course talking about my family. I have never talked about that shit in public, and so of course, and that was when Lady Reddit passed. And all of a sudden, I find myself eulogizing there, and I'm just thinking that this is all a lot that I wasn't prepared for. So the personality that was on that show is me, but I wasn't 100% ready to be showing people that side of me. So it was a whole fucking weird mess. But I did get a lot of love, and everybody called me an
interview. It was really good.
Yeah. But when I think about that stuff, I realized what was going on with me is that I wanted to make friends and relate to people. And what I realized when I was getting into stripping and porn and all this shit is that nobody wanted to hang out with me or talk to me when I was engaged and bright, you know, because I have an active mind, and I'm always asking questions. I have a certain vocabulary I use that is weird for people, and I guess it's unrelatable. Yeah. So what I noticed is once I stopped drinking, like that sort of vocabulary came back, and I'm yet again unrelatable. But this time I know who I am, so I can say, you guys can fuck yourselves if you don't want to be on this journey.
Okay, back to the puppet, the penis talk show. Let's get back to that, because I'm sure people are like, wait a minute.
No, this is still in line with all of that. So basically, the agent tells me all about this. He's like, oh, we have this show called the Penis Talk Show, where basically we don't show your head, your face, and you just like you got giant cameras on your dick that's showing this to millions of people across the world. I don't know who would watch it.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of people who would watch it.
Well, I was basically just sitting there, and they were asking us questions, and I said, just don't ask anything demeaning, because like that's stupid. Like I'm not here to sit here and be like, I have people ask about my, like, do I talk to my parents, or like if certain things in my life, you know, all those stereotypical trauma conversations that people like to ask porn actors. So basically they had me, my co-star, which was fascinating, for the Sunday that we were going to film a scene together.
Wow. Okay.
His name Izzy Danger.
Izzy Danger?
Yes. I have seen him.
Too.
Yes.
So they have the Dangers. You're starting at a drag house, the Danger, House of Danger.
I didn't name him. I had nothing to do with it. And so, but they said, we found this guy that you were going to film with. And so it's me, Izzy, and there's this other guy that's there. I didn't get to talk to him but for a few seconds, but anyway, they go down the line, they ask us questions, and you know, it's funny in the video, They zoom in on each one of our flaccid dicks, and then that's the dick that's talking.
That is so funny.
Yeah, it was really weird, but it sold out in minutes.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was really fast. Yeah, it was really crazy, and they're still doing it. They have like other guys in there, but I was really impressed that like once they said special guest Eddie Danger, people actually bought it.
Nice.
Nice.
But the Hey Queen,
love that.
that was a really good interview. It was a different kind of Eddie, like we've seen, especially. But yeah, it was really, really cool. Like seeing you on the couch instead of Coco Boing on Hey Queen. It was a good episode. Oh,
Yeah.
and you did tell the story about Peppermint saving your life, which was
I did. Yeah, I did. Which was kind of weird because I hadn't spoken to her about that. And the thing was, we both kind of tried to put it in the back of our mind. Because I don't think anybody wants to remember a porn dude or like a stripper almost dying in front of them. And I don't really think that I really wanted to go into that either, because I mean, personally, I was mortified by the whole thing. And I guess like she was just concerned about me. I don't know. So yeah, but it was weird because when I started talking, this was the brain that was engaged with like people asking me about my family that I've never talked to. And then all of a sudden they show me a picture of Peppermint at that thing. And I'm just like, why not tell some stories?
Oh
like
my God.
just how I always do. I'm a moron that just launches into this shit. I just launch into it.
But that's
and then
the appeal, Eddie.
Yeah, that
You're
is.
a
It
well-rounded
really, really
person, and it's
is.
nice that you expose yourself in more ways than one.
I can't.
The neighbors.
Yeah, welcome to the neighborhood, Eddie.
Oh man.
So yeah. So anyway, so I was down there for the Penis Talk Show, and I was there with my co-star for the future. I didn't know I was going to be spending the whole fucking weekend with him, but we ended up doing that. So our relationship went from, you know, usually like I come to you and I have these horrible stories about like this person shit on me, this person puked on me, I'm suffering. But like in this situation, I was spending the whole weekend with this dude. And so our relationship went from here you are, you two mice mate. It turned into like this whole fucking thing about like now we know each other. I can't treat him like he's nobody. He's a person. He's new to the industry. He's pansexual. I was learning about nuances in his life, and suddenly it was like an older brother, little brother kind of aesthetic. Yeah. And then, of course, that translated pretty well into the doctor scene that they set us up with.
Wow.
When Eddie Danger, this fucking moron, had to sit there and play an essential worker. But the whole premise, it was called, listen to this. Oh, this is fucking funny as shit. So they booked me for a few gigs, and one of them was Men Over 30. That was one. And I was like, oh God, like, can I get AARP next?
They did not. Did they really?
Yeah. And so the whole
God,
weekend,
Eddie.
I was just like, I turned 30, and that day you booked me for Men
30.
Over 30.
Wow, if that isn't
But
like.
then, of course, but then after that, they booked me for My Friend's Feet, and get this, they canceled the one for Men Over 30, and they booked me for Family Creep. So I'm just like, hey, mom and dad, aren't you proud now? You know, Family Creep. But anyway, but the premise was, and this was the weirdest shit because it has to be related somehow. Yeah. This is my brother. However, we aren't truly related. He is a
It's always a stepbrother. It's always a stepbrother.
It's even weirder. It gets even weirder. Our parents are in a lesbian relationship. But I am of actual birth through the vagina, and one is a surrogate birth or something. I'm not really sure. But there's this whole complex scenario that we had to remember. Now, one thing, when you're all hopped up on sexual fuel, you know, to get a scene done, the last thing you want to get these dumb motherfuckers to do is have to remember a whole genealogical tree.
That is a lot of backstory for a porn.
I know, that is a lot of backstory.
If you watch it, you'll see. We go from like, oh yeah, you know how Tina is. She's all, you know, progressive lesbian, and you know how Julie is. She's all like Republican lesbian. It's so weird, but isn't it cool how we can be related and stuff? Like, you're my bro, and you know, let me check out your PhD. Pretty huge dick. You know what I mean? All that bunch of bullshit.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
I love the backstory.
That is great.
I really
do too.
I love love a good backstory.
I do too. I live for the backstory.
So then you get invested
Yeah.
once they get down to the business. You're like, I'm invested in these characters.
That's just like icing on the
Exactly.
cake. I'm already in. You're right. I'm just there for the storyline at a
And then you tune out.
The funny thing is I post a picture on Instagram to show people like, hey, like this is what I'm doing. It's me in a doctor's outfit, and people zoomed in on the on the notepad that I was taking notes on, and it's all these like little scribbles, and they're like, oh yeah, here's acting. Eddie for
Wow, they called you out there like, yes. he's
Wow.
really-
Yeah.
Goddamn
So
people.
rude.
Anyway, so that was it, and then I'm doing the stuff at home, and I'm putting out for free on Pornhub. A big change in my life was just that if I'm gonna be doing some straight shit, might as well put it out for free because nobody wants to subscribe to watch just straight stuff. So I'll just throw that out for free and make it all pretty and stuff. So that's what I've been doing with my heterosexual life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun.
That is really you've been busy to say the least. Yeah. How do you think are you gonna go back to go-go once things start opening up? Because I know we were talking before, California is starting to open up more. But by summer, who knows? Things may be open. Would you go back to doing go-going?
I don't think locally I feel compelled to do that. I don't like people at this point. I'm kind of
Who does? Who does? No.
You know, I'm so happy being by myself that I don't want to play the game. And my personality's always been kind of been no nonsense, don't fuck with me, stop bothering me. But at this point, it's like I deserve more because I've worked so fucking hard. I put myself out there in a way that most people don't. So I'm demanding. And I before I used to be demanding because I felt like I had to be okay with going back in the office and like managing my regular life and like trying to compartmentalize. But now I'm difficult to work with because I simply don't like fucking people. But I think it's just the fact that I don't like to be touched at this point. Like, you know, those like I'm starting to notice like my little passive aggressive things people do. Like when I was in Fort Lauderdale, somebody was like, you know, they're one of those slime balls that have a lot of money, and they would always have their porn guys on their little yachts, and they'd be like, oh, this give me some stupid porn name like Toff or something,
It's
like whatever. Give me a generic name.
Toff or Max, just
stupid
some weird like
or Stone.
Stone,
Yeah.
And so you have these slime balls being like, oh, he's a train wreck, and making all these judgments about boys that are my contemporaries, like people that I work with. And I'm like, how dare you? And so when they try to talk to me like that, I'm like, no, like these are boys that are in my industry, and I'm gonna be their protector here. We're not gonna do all that.
Yeah.
So they try to relate to me by putting down other people in my industry. I get mad, and then they say, oh, come now, Eddie, come now. And they do the whole thing where they put their hand around your shoulder. That's not gonna fly either. Because I'm just like, I don't even want like slime balls like you to touch me. And that's a part of my sober brain saying, you put up with this for way too long because you wanted people to like you. And at this point, I'm like, fuck you. I'm doing just fine by myself, making my porn in my apartment. Fuck you. But I will say that I would love to do some go-go gigs because I like the community aspect of things. And I think when people meet me, like in the sense where I bring myself out to a community and I say, where I'm going to embed myself with everything you guys are doing. Like in San Diego, we went out.
It was fun.
We hung out.
That was fun.
There. I love that shit. Like I love meeting people and going out there and having fun and like carrying on. I don't know how I would be like being able to manage like a sober work ethic. I'm pretty sure I'd be much better because I'm certainly more marketable right now. But it would have to be that capacity because when I'm looking at the offers going on in DC, we lost every single one of our clubs, especially the clubs that go dance. But also, I'm not looking to work for peanuts out there for these fucking slime balls that I've watched rip each other apart all like during this past year with the call outs of racial whatever. They're always saying, oh, you're racist, you're this, you're that. Everybody's ripping each other's to shreds, like trying to steal each other's gigs by canceling them for all sorts of crazy shit. And it's like, I don't even like the people in this city at this point. So why am I gonna like suck dick for a job when I'm like, I don't even want to work for you morons? You know?
But it seems like your tolerance for bullshit, you're just like, nope, I'm not dealing with I don't want
Yeah. But I don't think it's a matter of being like kind of angry about all these things. I think it's just a matter of having self-respect at this point.
Exactly.
I've been in this It's been fucking fit, like almost. It's been a long time that I've been doing this, and I've certainly made my name for myself. And if somebody wants to hire me, they're gonna have to pony up and treat me with respect.
Why not? Shit.
Yeah.
But I have had like a few offers around here, but it's always something that's like, you want me to get naked for you people for that much money?
Okay, now Eddie, I got a question for you. So this week it came out that HBO is going to be doing a new competitive TV show called The Real Magic Mike. Did you see this? Would you could
No, I
So they're
didn't.
taking Magic Mike, right? And they're taking a group of men and turning them into like a real Magic Mike show that's going to be in Las Vegas, and it's going to be like a RuPaul style competition show.
Oh,
and it's going to be on
really
HBO.
A bunch of himbos. A bunch of himbos complaining about their pets,
Yes,
right?
pretty much.
Yeah. So I did that for a while. Like I did that whole Magic Mike type of performance with airways and shit at Saks in Washington D.C. It's modeled after the Moulin Rouge. I'm sure I've told you about this. It's like we had this giant stage and there was a cast of like 6 guys. And most of them were gay, you know, but we were performing for a packed house of women nonstop. It's 2 floors. All the girls would have their own, like, and this is the time when I like smashed my head. I got a concussion from smashing my head on a roof, on the ceiling. I got through so much bullshit doing that, but it was a fun time. I don't think I'd ever do something like that again because the choreography is so goddamn demanding and the money just simply isn't worth it. You know, the tips are good. But I think a lot of men that do that Magic Mike type of performance, they're not in it for the money. They're in it for fucking girls and taking girls out into the lap dance rooms. And if you're the Vegas type and you're trying to put on a performance, and if this whole thing is about like I just love male exotic dancing, the art of it, the costumes, and all this shit, then. You know, I mean, God bless him, but that's way off too. That's a whole different reality.
Yeah,
that's
but it's just so interesting that they're gonna take it and now they're turning it into a whole TV reality competition show. I'm like, they're gonna do that with everything eventually.
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting to watch because there's this whole concept that guys that do that sort of thing are all kind of like they need to be saved. They're all a bunch of like morons or they're into drugs. But like when you get into the go-go side of thing, I think that's more common because everybody's like, it's a nightclub atmosphere. But like in general, like the male dancing, like male reviews and all that, it's not all that crazy because people have to remember what they're doing. They have to know that I take off the fireman suit at this beat and I have to do this tearaway at this moment. You have to know where you're tossing this shit, you know? It's a whole situation. And then on top of that, you don't get tipped actual dollar bills typically in those male review things.
What do you mean?
Is it like
well in our situation? Well, because how do you transfer money? You know, that's the question. And what happened at the one that I did is that we would go out there. They would have a segregated section for us where because they had male dancer waiters go around and serve the women. And so, but they would get tipped nonstop because they're always in their face. It was like at Hooters, if you could slip a $1 bill in the booth,
right?
And you know, people
you're
would
up
be
on
doing
stage.
Yeah,
separated.
And so we didn't get tipped. We got like a little bit of a pay rate, but it wasn't adequate. So they would give us the opportunity to go run around the stars of the show, go run around all the tables and collect tips. But that was like 5 minutes that we had to run across an entire giant space. And you'll see it when you move to DC. Saks is huge. So we are doing laps around the fucking place, you know? Yeah, but so it's like when do male dancers make the thick of their money? And the answer to that is in the lap dance rooms, which they may or may not be showcasing.
Yeah.
But also like Vegas dancers, I don't know if they're going to be paid more. They're probably all going to be gay anyway.
Probably.
So I don't know if all the ladies are going to go there looking for the thunder down under, but they're just going to get these guys making out with each other backstage. You know?
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
That's typically what happens, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's funny because the real good dancers with the real nice bodies, they're all gay men. Come on.
Well, yeah.
When was the last time you saw like a decent straight male dancer? That doesn't happen.
That doesn't. You're right. You're right. When?
It's not real.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Even that one guy, even the Magic Mike guy, he's kind of looking pudgy.
Channing
Channing
Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not aging
Yeah,
well.
he's
poor
nothing to
thing.
look
I
at.
know.
If he were gay, trust you, he'd have an 8-pack
Yeah.
and he'd be running around hulking out.
True. What do you
Yeah,
think, Eddie,
true.
of since quarantine and the whole COVID, everybody producing their own porn, especially with Just for Fans, Only Fans, like everybody's a porn star now. And you were doing
Yeah.
it before it became
Yeah.
became like the new trend, if lack for a better word.
I think,
What do you think of it?
I think I love it. I'm so happy about this because and this might come off as a little
Yeah.
weird. I'm seeing this number
yeah.
in my face.
Rob,
Ignore it.
just ignore
That's all
it.
I'm
That's
doing,
what we
Rob.
do. We ignore it.
So I was like, whoa, am I going on too long? So
No,
basically,
you're fine.
okay, I'll explain to you. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big fan of people getting in the industry because the more numbers, the bigger numbers we have, the weirder it is for me to walk into the office doing what I do. You know, because like when I walk into the office and somebody says, "Oh, my daughter does this OnlyFans thing," then all of a sudden I'm like, your daughter does OnlyFans? And it's like, it's suddenly a part of a normal conversation. Normalized sex work. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Do they not know what their daughter's doing on OnlyFans, or do they know what their daughter's doing?
Well,
on
I think
OnlyFans?
the overall idea is that they're just showing sexy pictures,
pics,
but
yeah.
It's-
I don't think.
Well,
if
now a
anybody's
lot
really
of the queens are getting into the OnlyFans. Some of the queens they're starting to do OnlyFans.
Yeah,
Which is
Yeah, and
really
I think that's-
interesting.
yeah, and I think that's great for
Yeah.
them. I think a lot of times it's a little I think that people mostly cringe follow a lot of that stuff. So good for them if they feel proud of it. But
Yes.
I mean, I personally I've been doing this forever, but it's not like I go on there and I don't want to be famous off of this stuff. Like, I think if you look at my entire career, it's just been about like doing the wrong thing in order to get popular. Like, I say the wrong thing. I'm not nice to the right people. I'm a total douche. Like, in fact, the agent wrote to me yesterday saying, this major porn star wants to call you and talk to you about something. And I said, what's it about? And he tells me, it's not serving me at all. So I said, tell him to bother somebody else. And so that's the way I shoot myself in the foot. But now, God bless all these people. But on top of that, I do have like the pool of people that I can work with is much bigger now. And the fact that I started doing this free shit over on Pornhub is wonderful because they know that I will produce quality material for them for their OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And as long as people don't connect Eddie Danger to whoever this OnlyFans model is, they don't know where to get this shit for free. So they subscribe to their shit and they get quality content because I put love into my work, you know.
What do you think
yeah,
about?
because it's a passion
What do you
project.
think about the article that came out with the girl Danielle Baraglo, the rapper, and she's the one that was on Dr. Phil, the Cash Me Outside girl.
Jesus Christ!
So she went on
Okay.
OnlyFans, started it the day she turned 18, and within 6 hours made over $1 million.
Good for her.
Yeah, I was like,
I find it a little creepy.
yeah, that's what was weird.
personally-
Like you
yeah, 'cause
literally
it was
just
like-
turned 18 that day, and
It
you're
was
gonna
within
do.
seconds.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, she's
Okay.
Wow.
did an OnlyFans, and I'm like, well, the people. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, would
It's
you guys have done it
creepy.
at 18? I would have.
Would you?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
I think well, I wasn't in the place in my life to be busy with any of that shit anyway. I was still trapped in my conservative community back home, but no, I think everybody should be free to do that, but I think the part of that makes me uncomfortable is the fact that she feels groomed for it, you know, because she's been in the
Yeah.
public eye forever. She's been like in the underbelly of society because she started off as a train wreck and as a goofed out meme. And then she turned into this like successful. I wasn't following her career, but every time I heard from her, it was something horrible and people were just laughing. And then all of a sudden she turns 18 and starts putting out porn. And I don't know. I mean, good for her, whatever. I hope she doesn't regret it in the future. I'm sure she won't because Kim Kardashian is doing just
God,
fine.
I know.
But you know,
Jeez.
so but to me, like if somebody had told me when we first saw her that within seconds of turning 18 she was going to be doing porn, I'd be like, oh wow, maybe maybe there should be a little conversation going on about what she's going to have to deal with moving forward in her life, having done this. But because in general, there's still a lot of misogyny that goes on in porn, and this is what I always tell OnlyFans models that come to me and they say, hey, let's collaborate, we could make our stuff in split ways. And I say, okay, well, you haven't started all of this stuff, but you realize that there are still a lot of guys that won't date a girl who's done porn. There's still like a lot of if you're not in the business for the right reasons, if you're not a business person, if you're doing it to get back at your parents, or if you're doing it for just because out of emotional kind of just to fight people. Now, I got into porn because I was inspired by like the underbelly of society, and this was like the whole drag scene and everything like that. I was like, this is fascinating, and I want to see what this weird shit is like. So I don't think I was ever really taken advantage of, but I see a lot of people, especially who are starting out, that aren't necessarily doing it out of financial desperation, but more so see it as, well, everybody else is making money, and I really want to show my parents who's boss. I see that a lot, and that makes me feel a little weird, because I'm like, in the future, you are going to be blaming other people for this impulsive action,
right.
Because I know I do. I know I'm busy running around blaming my parents for things that I've done in my life that were kind of weird, but none of them had to do with porn. That's totally
right.
I don't mix my parents up in that.
What was it, Eddie, that drew you to? Because for people who may not know, you are very well known within the drag community. I mean, you know all the queens and and not just know them, but you're like friends with them. You have relationships with them. You're friends. So why did you gravitate towards that scene over any other one? Like, what made you go, oh, this is the tribe I want to be part of?
These are my people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I've told you about this, but I was doing the mascot thing when I was in middle school. And did I tell you about this?
I think so.
No.
I don't remember. No.
Okay, well, I was the mascot
Like
in
the
middle school.
whole.
Yeah, and I've been a huge fan of Kiss forever. It was always about this elevated persona, and I was always like I was the drummer in a band. I was the background guy. But I noticed that if I put on a disguise, then I could put myself out there and get the attention of the pretty girl. The most popular girl in school would hug me when I was dressed up as the mascot, as opposed to me, the actual person who was kind of a loser and deemed kind of untouchable. Yeah. So what I noticed moving forward into my life is that the more I assumed a disguise, whether it was to be the model who had like a ton of gravitas to myself, or like with that whole character I was doing when I was like doing the backwards hat and I was kind of being a douche bro. That's a personality too that I'm assuming. That's like, it's putting a block up in between myself and the world, and it's saying, hey, you can fall in love with this person because it's relatable, but you don't have to go too deep in, And so that's what happened with the drag. So when I was talking to drag queens, I totally understood the idea of assuming a disguise and having an elevated personality that you're projecting on stage. It's like when you go on stage to sing a song. Yeah. It's so much easier to put a guitar in front of you and play the guitar and sing because there's a barrier between yourself and the audience. Same thing's going on with me, And so we related on that level, me and myself and the drag queens that I would work with. But also, like I said, like I was a staple in DC forever, and also back in Virginia Beach when I was growing up as a baby stripper, and like across the country, whenever they would fly us out, it would be like tack this guy on to our RuPaul's Drag Race events. But then when they met me, they realized like I was doing the same thing they were doing, and we were in the same business mentality. We knew what was going on. We trusted each other. They knew I wouldn't open my mouth about anything weird that was going on, and I still won't. Yeah. I won't tell anything.
Yeah, good. So no kissing and telling.
I think that's. But also, one thing that I found really bizarre is that, like, I've been doing this for so long, and I'm by no means anybody's like I'm not like a legendary porn actor or something, but I've been around in the sense where people have grown up and they've known about me since they were like 18, which is weird for me to find out because I feel ancient at this point, and they, like I always get these things saying you were my sexual awakening when I was 15, and I'm like, ew, like I'm thinking this is really disgusting.
I would be flattered.
I would be flattered too. I'd be like, well, thank you. I'm glad I like.
But then again, I've never had somebody say that to me.
Me
so
neither.
I actually don't know how I feel in the moment.
Well, then of course, then the next question, if I do decide to respond, it's, well, how old are you now?
Exactly.
Like,
You're like
What are you
16.
doing?
A year later.
like,
No,
Oh my God.
yeah, so it's a little weird, but it's just the longevity and the fact that I've remained like this character for so long, and I've reinvented.
Yeah.
Like I said on the Hate Queen thing, I had different personalities. The Christian Lizelle that was working as a nude acrobat is different from what I was doing as the Eddie Danger persona with the douche, like the hat, the backwards hat, and all this.
Yeah.
And then of course, like right now, I'm doing this whole thing with a beard and trying to reinvent myself as like some sort of synthesis between those two,
Yeah.
you know. But obviously not doing acrobatics, more like intellectualism or whatever.
Would you go back to writing, Eddie? Because for people who may not know,
Yeah.
you're a published writer. So especially
Yeah.
coming through being sober and all that, would you like do a memoirs? Because I would definitely buy the Eddie Danger
Same.
memoirs. I
Yeah.
think it would be
Well,
an
okay, the funny-
interesting book.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I have like 700 pages written at this point on that specific topic, and the books that I've written in the past weren't ever in line with. It was more so when I don't promote them, because when I go and I look at that stuff, I'm like, I'm not all that interested in promoting it, because when I see it, I don't see me right now. I see somebody who was trying to get in touch with who I am now. But then, of course, I see, oh, okay. But I know, all I'm looking at is Rob right now. And so
I know, he's
basically-
sending
Get
me
Rob.
so no, but with this, I have it written, and there's still things to write because
Yeah.
I've been through some weird bullshit lately. But like the stories are out there, they're fascinating, and I know that there's something that can like that people will end up reading and thinking that are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting it all out and edited. And my big problem is that it's gone through so many iterations where I was passionate about getting the stories out, but then maybe I said, oh, I was going to write a guidebook as to how to be a successful dancer when I was 22.
Yeah.
But then of
Mhm.
course I revisit it when I'm 24, and I've got a whole array of other bullshit I'm doing with the Magic Mike stuff, and I was deep into the BDSM world, where I was being walked around like a dog and fucking people's wives as this dominatrix would walk me around at nightclubs in Philadelphia and say, you're gonna fuck these people's wives, and it was her, like how she got her kicks and stuff like that. And so like I had like all these different weird things that would come into my life that I would furiously type down, because I was like, I don't want to forget this, and what if I die tomorrow?
Yeah.
But now I'm at a good point where I can finally get it all written. But as you've seen, endless chaos.
Yeah.
Because
But I just think
now I'm in the
your
middle of a move.
story would be just so interesting to read, and like
Yeah. Well,
the chronicle
It's-
life of Eddie Danger,
Honestly.
how you started, how
Yeah.
you got to this point, all of the stories in between, and just like your perspective on life, and like
Yeah.
growing older, and like being in the business and all that. I just think it would be a very interesting book.
Well, it's fascinating because when you start to think back on these things, and I don't think people really account for all the time that's spent in between,
Yeah.
youth and adulthood, and how much, like if you've been at a job, like you start a job, oh, it's my first day, I'm all stressed out. Blink of an eye, it's 5 years
Yeah.
later, you've got a great resume. You know what I mean?
For
That is
real.
so
But that's-
true.
but that's the way and that's the way it happens with porn. It was like I started it, I remember starting, but then I navigated, and it's been constantly like reinventing. Oh, sure, I'll take that job. Sure, I'll take that job. Sure, I'll take that job. And pretty soon I'm on the Penis Talk Show telling my life story, And it's like, and
Yeah.
it's weird to think. And I remember when, like, the reason why I didn't put out my book years ago, and thank God I didn't, because I've learned so much since, is that I had a relationship where I felt I couldn't be my authentic self with this person. So when I'm thinking about talking about my sexuality or like any of the weird shit I'd been up to, we weren't in that conversation. And the writing on the wall was that we were going to be dishonestly married, like she didn't know who I was. She didn't know what I was about, but I was prepared to end this life, in that regard. And so when I think about that, now I'm free, I'm completely liberated. And then I could go ahead and take my own mind, single guy, single perspective, go in and critique myself throughout this whole fucking mess that I've been in. Yeah.
Wow.
But But the porn thing, especially the pansexual angle, is really fascinating to think about. I really want to talk about that because not many people have been able to
express it.
Yeah, I know that is true.
Yeah.
Rob, you
Yes.
have something, right? It's time for
I
hymns.
do.
It's
I
time
do.
for hymns, everybody.
We're gonna make this a very seamless transition.
I
Tony.
know. I've given up trying to do the transitions to our to the hymns products. I'm just like, Rob, do it because it's been a mess the last couple times.
Yes, Hims offers men access to high-quality medical products for issues all men face but rarely take care of, and they're a trusted destination for sound medical guidance with both prescription and non-prescription solutions. That ridiculously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means the prescription medication to treat erectile dysfunction is now affordable. At Hims, you pay as little as only $4 a day. No embarrassing conversations, no expensive appointments, just answer a few questions online in the privacy of your own home, and a medical provider will confidentially review. If approved, your medication is shipped directly to your door in very discreet packaging, and you guys, the shipping is free. So why live with ED when the solution can be so simple? And if you go to our website right now, they're offering a 60-day money-back guarantee. So that means get hard.
Is that what you wanted, Rob? Sorry, I was late with the sound effect. I'm sorry.
Wow, Tony.
I was watching you. I was engaged with your hymns. The hymns.
So
I was
that's it.
listening.
Get
Huh?
hard or
I can't find the other one.
Jesus.
Just keep. Oh, there it is. That
no,
one.
or your money. Okay, let me do this again.
Go.
Yes, let me finish. Let me get hard.
I know, as you would with hymns. There.
Why does this always turn into a train wreck?
Go ahead, Rob. Finish it up.
Okay.
Finish it up. Go ahead.
One second.
Wait,
Let me
Rob,
finish.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
didn't know like our little ad drops would be so exciting. Okay. Get hard or your money back. Oh, now maybe getting an erection isn't the problem at all, but instead you finish a little prematurely. The great news is Hims also has that covered with the spray, a pill, or both. The spray works by altering the sensitivity to the sprayed area without overly numbing, and unlike the other topical products, it's absorbed by the skin without transferring to your partner. Simply spray it in the most sensitive areas 5 to 10 minutes before go time, and studies have shown men can last up to 64% longer using the spray. Sex should be fun for all, and Hims helps you enjoy this pleasure longer. So whether you want to focus on sexual wellness, acne, hair loss, or beyond, Hims has you covered. Start out with a free online visit. Go to whoinvitedher.net/hims. That's HIMS for your free visit. That's whoinvitedher.net/hims. Prescription products are subject to medical provider approval and require an online consultation with the medical provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details and safety information. That's whoinvitedher.net/hims. Okay.
Yay! There, got through it. What did you have about hymns, Eddie?
Oh, they're fascinating. They're a wonderful company. So I was looking into some stuff to help me out with a shoot I had coming up, and of course I hit up Hims, and it was easy. It was just one phone call, and they sent me a whole bunch of stuff. And God bless Hims. I think they're great.
I use their skincare.
It's not as intense as other stuff.
No, I use their skincare. I love their skincare stuff. They're the eye cream and the daily moisturizer, and there's one other one, the night one that I use. I like their skin stuff. It's really good.
So they do everything.
Yeah, they do.
I just love that we're on round 3.
I know, and we messed it up every time. I'm just gonna give up.
But you know what? It's
Yeah.
Hims is a great
It
product.
is. It really,
they
really is.
are. Yeah.
Eddie, do you ever run into that on a shoot, like where maybe you just can't get it up? What do you do?
No,
Or are you always
if
good?
If I know I'm gonna have a hard time, I pop it in.
Yeah.
You know, I always especially if I know it's gonna be weird. I want people to shut up and let me do my job. We've talked about this, but because it's like there's a whole lot of nonsense that goes on, a lot of people talking and milling about. I don't like that at all. So
No.
go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's just the performance aspect. I don't know if I'd be able to overcome that.
It's
No
too
pun
weird.
intended.
But I think it's good when you're in the right frame of
Yeah.
mind, and if you're actually attracted to somebody. Now, if I can
Yeah.
go into a scene and be like, this is like a conquest. And this is why I kind of like, there is a fair level of authenticity when you do watch porn, because sometimes you're paired with somebody and you're like, let me at them, you know?
Yeah.
And it's great, and you feel like there's a passion there. But a lot of times, like, we've had time to talk, and usually when somebody opens their mouth, I realize I'm not attracted to them at all.
Wow.
You know what I
Okay,
mean?
that's fair.
It's like,
That's
just
fair.
shut the fuck up and like, let's just be bodies.
Right.
But basically, yeah. But I've definitely taken a bunch of those, and I will tell people, if you're gonna take Viagra for like a thing that you may or may not have going on, chew this shit, baby. Chew it, because then it's gonna happen. It tastes like garbage. It's disgusting. And try to brush your teeth or get some Listerine in your mouth afterwards. But that will get your fucking body working in the right way.
Nice.
Chewing it?
Chewing it.
Yeah, chew that fucking pill up. It's disgusting, but it's gonna get in your system within an hour. So and
I've never
not
heard
like
this.
a maybe things will work. You know, it will work at that point.
I have a
I get
a
all these
question
people-
for you, Eddie. So since you've talked on the show today about sobriety, any advice for maybe somebody who's listening right now who is either thinking like at the beginning stages of their sobriety, making that decision?
Yeah, okay, well that's great. So listen, I have a bunch of fucking morons on the internet telling me about medical help versus spiritual help
Yeah.
or whatever. There's a whole bunch of idiots that are basically saying that gatekeeping, that people shouldn't be able to say that you can come up with natural ways to train yourself to do things. You have to go the route that everybody else goes.
I don't know.
For example, Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, I know a lot of people that are a part of that. Narcotics Anonymous. I know a lot of people that are a part of that. I didn't need it, but good for them for having something that works for them. So they can go ahead and use that all they want, but that's not what I did. And same with like mental health or whatever. I've had severe depression. I've been suicidal in the past, but you know what? I didn't use medication because I valued my personality and my own functioning so much that I was like, I know that if I just work on reconfiguring the way I think and the way I use myself and my energy, maybe I can pull through this.
Yeah.
So with sobriety, it was an endless cycle. And the problem was everybody gave me permission to be an alcoholic around me, every single person. Because alcohol was everywhere I went, and they would give it to me for free, which I love. I love alcohol. I mean, it was the best time. I love talking to people. I love hanging out with people, and it would help me be myself.
Yeah.
And like not so much myself, but it would help me put my thoughts out there and relate to people in a way that I couldn't, because maybe I was too introverted, or maybe other people just didn't, feel that connection. But it was such a social thing for me. But then when I noticed that I was doing it a whole bunch by myself at home to try to be like, well, I just got home from the club. Let's just polish off another bottle. It'll be totally fine. Yeah. And then I would wake up miserable, and the cycle would keep going. Now, when I was like in middle school, I used to smoke cigarettes. And I was concerned about that because I was raised in a very religious household, which told you that you masturbate, you're going to hell and shit like that, So that's the same mentality that I was like, I need to lash myself for doing wrong. So what I did was I grabbed myself that pack of Marlboro Reds that I had purchased off some military guy in front of a gas station. I went and I smoked the whole fucking pack in like an hour. And for me, I can't smell Marlboro Reds without feeling sick to my stomach, because I basically trained myself. We're just going to keep beating you down with this thing that's your vice until you get it out of your system. Now, with alcohol, I did the same thing, which was a real shame, but I drank myself into a little stupor so many times, and my life got so miserable that I had to just look at myself and say, you know what, today we're just going to focus on going to sleep. And then once I did that, I would do that the next night. Tonight, we're just going to focus on popping melatonin, baby.
Yeah.
Get to sleep. Don't drink. Don't go out there and have like a cigarette and like have a cocktail. Don't do that. Slow down. And then when I would do that, it'd be night 3. take a melatonin, go to sleep. And I know this is like passing dependencies onto other things, but then I would be like, how else can I go to sleep? Maybe I'll smoke some weed. We'll figure out a way to get through each day as it comes. And that's what I kind of noticed. I would just be like, each day's an obstacle. You get through that one. And then pretty soon, just like building up your resume, it's been like 3 months and you realize I haven't been to the ABC store in 3 months. ABC's the liquor store that we have in Virginia. But yeah, so then I realized that that's just not a part of my life and it wasn't a part of my cycle. So when I would think about doing it again, I would think, well, I've been a few months and I mean, maybe I'll have a drink. And so early on, I would be like, I would visit my friends and I would drink with them. I'd have a little drink. But then I realized that at that point, I'd been so divorced from this lifestyle that I got fucking hammered. And like, I was miserable. I was flipping out. I was angry at everybody. And I was just like, why am I having such a negative experience? It's because the alcohol wasn't a part of my brain at the time.
Right.
So I shocked my system by being like, this is out of your life. Then we're going to hit you in the face with it again. And then once I did, I was like, fuck this is miserable. And I did it twice. And I was like, the hangover was worse than ever. The people hated me because they were like so disappointed that I was acting like such a douche. And I was like, you know what? This is just not going to be a part of my life anymore. So after a while, it was just gone. And then I realized my body started to shrivel up in like a good way, hopefully. So like now I have this body that I'm looking at and it's like, this isn't anything that I'm working on, really. I'm not going out and going to the gym all the time. It's just a matter of changing my diet. And and that even came as a result of the alcoholism being dropped. Because when you're drinking, you wake up and you say, I really need some sustenance. Or let's just go to an IHOP after this night apart. And then you pack your face full of food. Or you congratulate yourself for being a disaster the night before by having some like extravagant omelet. Well, that didn't happen anymore, you know? So it was just a matter of...
That is really interesting.
So my advice to other people would just be to train yourself to not do these things by offering little small rewards, you know?
Right.
And but also like I said, like I was never too hard on myself. The mentality that I went in with this is that like, I'm going to try to limit this stuff. But then once you start going, it's hard to stop on the sobriety kick because then you're seeing results. And my face shriveled up too. It was like, I had a big face before. It was round. And then
it wasn't round, Eddie, but you
are filled out a little bit. That's all. But that is like good advice. Like it's literally baby steps. One step at a time. Get through that day. Worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes. Type of attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. And but with that, I was always concerned with like same with like the vegetarian sort of difference. I didn't want to put myself on that track where if I slipped up, then you're done.
Punish yourself.
Then you're back in it and you suck. But what happened was like if I did slip up, I was like, this sucks. I'm gonna take ownership of it. It sucks, and I I shouldn't have done it, but it's okay. I'm still sober. Like, you know how people say like, oh, you weren't really sober for a year because you had a drink somewhere in there.
Bullshit.
I just disregard that. Yeah, bullshit. Because my mentality is I'm still off. Yeah. You know, and my I'm still there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That is, I think that is, it puts, because there is a thing with people who are doing sobriety where it's like, if you get off the wagon, you're a horrible person and people are going to judge you. But
and then you go overboard at that point.
Exactly. Then you start binging again and then it's over.
Well, I think it's really encouraging, Eddie. And then, I mean, like we said at the top of the show, you look amazing. Not that you did it before, but you could see the change in you. Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
But the problem, one thing that I've noticed though, with this little change, and I'm having a hard time dealing with it because I'm still the scared little boy that I was in middle school, and I'm always going to be because I'm always hiding behind a disguise. But this is the weirdest thing because now more than ever, because now I'm presenting as like a man as opposed to a boy. When I had this sort of figure before, I'm getting a lot of very uncomfortable attention. Really? And I'm getting a lot of people giving me passes for acting like a douche. And like that sort of behavior, it's easy to spiral into being a monster when people put themselves beneath you, you know? So like if you have somebody that's like, they'll deal with all of your nonsense, like treat me like garbage. Please, sir, thank you for giving me attention. it's like immediately it puts you in monster mode because you're just looking at this like, why am I being treated like this? You're not talking to me, you're talking to what you're assuming I am, and that's unfair.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so I'm being treated like I'm a totally different person, and it's impossible to relate to people at this point.
Yeah.
It's very weird. And I don't like the attention. Like, I'm not really enjoying that all that much. But it's not just the fact that I've lost weight. It's the fact that I'm building muscle at a really crazy rate also. I'm not used to that. And it makes me really uncomfortable when people are talking to me about this because I'm still a big fat loser and I'm never going to not be a big fat loser. So, you know what I mean? It's like one of those.
It's like that struggle in your
impossible.
head. It's the struggle in your head, how you view yourself and then how other people are actually viewing it. You know what I mean? I think everybody goes through that. That is for sure.
Well,
What, Bashi?
I guess the other thing is the people that you have to really nitpick who you surround yourself with.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's all about
and with
that.
the porn stuff too, it's just it's like this added layer of fake bullshit that people give you. You know, it's like I don't trust anybody really. I'm so scared of people being around me. Nobody knows where I live now. I mean, they didn't before, but I would be kind of like okay with people finding out. Now I'm terrified because I'm like, they don't see me as a person. They see me as somebody who's looking for attention on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a totally different consideration of who I am as a person. When before they would look at me when I had a little more weight on me and I was struggling to survive and I was like trying to like eat the table scraps of the world. I was much less scared by people.
Yeah,
you know
that
what
makes
I mean?
sense. That totally makes sense.
That does.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like always,
I don't know. I
go
guess
ahead, Bash.
You just gotta be careful. Like I said, who you surround yourself with. Make really good
Exactly. It
friends.
is,
Like
it really is.
I think we've all been there. I've been big. I've been small. When I was a 20-year-old, I was being attacked constantly by
remember
some
that.
fucking creepos and Hillcrest
You were a
and
little
got in
kid,
fights all the
yeah.
time. And now, you know, you're older, you're wiser, you're
Some
bigger.
of us. Yeah, that is so true.
And I have my friends, and I know they'll never leave
No.
me though. Like that's
Maybe, but no,
that's
no.
focus.
kidding.
But do you understand? And on top of that, like the dad bod is in.
Yeah.
Everybody
Thank
fucking loves
God,
the
it
dad
is
bod.
my
So
time.
in.
It is my time. God damn it.
there's this crazy collision between the like what we've been taught to adore and what we're actually into, and it's really crazy to see because I'm getting a lot of attention for what I'm doing, but that's not at all what people are into. It's all fake.
Yeah.
It's not real. Like nobody wants a guy with a toned body. In fact, everybody tells me I have an eating disorder.
Really?
Like this is what's
Oh
going on.
God.
Yes, but no. But
You
what's
can't
going
win.
on?
No, you can't win.
No, you can't. But they really into the dad bod, like across the board. I'll talk to everybody and they say, I like a guy with a little more meat on my bones, but then I'll get all this attention. So it's like they're looking at the hot, the Pamela Anderson and they're like, oh, she's recognized as hot, but that's for something else. Like that's
So what they really want in
real.
real life is the dad bod. They like to look at the pretty
Yes.
thing, but they're like, what they're gonna take home is the guy that's the dad bod.
Yeah.
That's
There you
kind of
go.
interesting.
Yeah.
It is.
I think it's more rooted in attention.
True. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's and you know what's funny when people see me, the only people that I'm getting in terms of people that want to date me, they're all people who want attention, and they're people who are looking for validation from their friends by having the guy that's on the internet showing his body, as opposed to before when I would have like kind of more authentic relationships, but it is more like a mascot. Like so, I'm noticing that I'm assuming this like persona, which is very like I'm dumbing myself down for people. I'm being like kind of like bro-ish. I'm being really stupid. I'm being like inconsiderate of others. And like, it's a whole character that I'm putting on just because that's what's expected of me. You know what I mean?
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. People have different levels of who they're expecting attention from. If they're getting attention from somebody who's super hot, that makes them validated. If they're getting attention for somebody who has a dad bod because that guy is giving them the attention that they want, that makes them validated. It's all just like a different
It's all.
Thing
I
with
wish people
everybody.
could just relax.
I know.
I
Everybody
know.
just relax.
That's why, honestly, like the whole fucking country just needs to legalize.
I know.
weed
Everybody
so
just
nobody
smoke
stresses
a
out about
bowl
anything.
and just
Yeah, my God, I just-
relax.
That is one thing I do miss because I haven't been doing.
Oh,
that this whole
that's what I've
time.
been doing during
Yeah.
COVID. Lots
But-
of weed.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't been smoking
No,
weed?
he cut out- he
No,
cut
I've
back.
been trying to just be a little bit more
How-
healthy because I would end up binging like a bag of chips.
Nothing wrong
And
with
then-
that.
Nothing wrong
Wait,
with that.
wait.
But also, I'm
So-
applying
so
to
here I
jobs,
was-
so I'm also being careful
Yeah.
about that.
So I was thinking that you were over here in that flamingo shirt.
no, I've been
moving-
sober as I don't know what's sober. I don't know what's sober.
just dry sober. Okay.
Sober as a nun.
Sober as a
Wow.
nut. There you
Good
go.
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Wow, so
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
living the high life out in San Diego.
No, it's
Oh
been
my-
a couple months
Yeah.
now.
Why
And
am
it's
I
been
crying about
miserable.
my life? You know, like you need to be on here.
Oh man.
Well, hey, can we talk about that though? What's it like to not smoke weed?
I
Because
wouldn't
like it's a
know.
huge part of my life.
I wouldn't know.
Tony would.
That's what I changed during COVID was I kind of gave up alcohol and did weed because it was leveling me out. My anxiety was out of control, and weed for me personally made me feel like leveled. I didn't feel crazy, and I felt relaxed, and I can handle things. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing I like about my background in Catholicism is the reset of Lent. Because I just stop doing everything that's bad for me and focus on eating healthy, not drinking,
Yeah.
not smoking weed, not engaging in any vices for 40 days.
Yeah.
And it's nice because it kind of resets me for the
Yeah.
year. And then I keep things up and I continue losing weight, and then I start getting into vices again, and then it's next
Yeah.
Lent. So I've been on like a progressive like losing weight
yeah.
on a gradual scale for quite a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time.
What, Rob? You have
Yeah,
something?
that's all.
Mike.
I
Rob.
know it's the mic. I know. I just wanted to say thanks to the listeners that are following us on YouTube, watching us YouTube live Saturday afternoons. D Money,
Oh, D Money.
also known as Daryl on
Yeah,
Instagram.
Daryl. Yeah, he follows on Facebook. He's
Yes,
such a
he
sweetheart,
just
yeah.
wanted to say, "OMG, this is the best episode yet." And he just wants to
that's
say
very
hello.
sweet.
Hello, Daryl.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, D Money.
Oh.
I'm sorry I'm not more entertaining.
Oh no,
right
you're
now. I just
entertaining.
realized-
Are you fucking
Are you kidding me? You're
Yeah.
always
So
Eddie, it is
entertaining.
like always such a pleasure when you come on. Like I love it because I don't have to do anything. I just like sitting back and listening to you tell your stories
Yeah.
and talk. And like that's why Rob has to hold up time because I get so engaged when you talk that I'm just like, oh shit, we have to wrap this up soon. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do
Sorry.
think you
Yeah.
should get a book.
I
together,
really,
like,
really,
something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really think
I
you
agree.
do need that, Eddie, because I
Well,
think
I'll get it done.
I think you have a
I'll-
great story to tell, and I really do think people will find it relatable. That they're like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
not the only one feeling these things out in the world. There's somebody else that I could relate to, which is
Ye-
so amazing.
I definitely I get that because I have a lot of strong opinions on things that I feel very comfortable explaining, and I think a lot of people don't feel so comfortable about saying the things that I feel, you know, but I can back it up with experience
Yeah.
because like I
Yeah.
put my you put your feet to the fire or
Yeah.
something, and like experience these things, so I can tell you exactly the facts of it, and then the theoretical facts like regarding like I mean even down to misogyny in gay clubs. Like I can tell you everybody's perspective because I've heard them, I've seen them in
Firsthand experience.
what's
Yeah.
yeah. And, But
Yeah.
like I will only make claims about things that I've experienced for myself that I know for a fact, and at least I know like how society generally works.
Rob.
Um,
It is notes. I know. Rob's like, you guys are over time. But Eddie, it is always a pleasure when you come on. I love having you on the show because it's so fun. But let everybody know how they can find you, all of that good stuff.
Okay, well, I guess you can find me on Instagram. I do at Diddy.
Daddy.
Daddy Danger.
Eddie Danger.
Eddie Danger on Instagram. If you want to torture yourself, go to my Twitter and look at my cock. And I have a nice little video pinned of me coming. And my cum shots have gotten great, by the way.
Really?
I'm thinking about
Since the whole sobriety and diet change?
Yeah.
Wow.
range
Wow.
and volume. range and volume. Work on it.
A lot of hymns.
A lot of hymns. A lot of hymns. There you go. Everybody, you can. How do people find you, Bashy?
I'm at _Bash on
Yes,
Instagram.
and how do people find you, Eric?
I am at Party Bear Eric.
There
on
you go.
Instagram.
And you can follow me. It's Tony_Baloney_Macaroni on Instagram. We are Who Invited Her _podcast on Instagram. We're Who Invited Her SD on Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget, we are on Out at TV every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. You can tune in if you miss the show on Saturdays. We're there on Out at TV. They have a lot of other great programming with a bunch of good shows like a Shit Show with Grotesque and Kevy Kev. And if you really want to deep dive into
Grotesque.
yeah,
Grotesque.
Grotesque.
I know you had a good
Yeah,
time
you
with
did.
her.
And if you want to deep dive
Great
into
time.
all things RuPaul's Drag Race Roundup with Captain Steve and Erica Fox, they do that show on there. You can watch my other show, Film Spring If you're a movie buff, go check us out. We're at 8 p.m. on Friday nights on Out at TV. And that is it for us this week, everybody. Thank you again, Eddie. I love having you on. You always
you.
are so entertaining.
Thank you for having.
So
Thank you
good.
for having me on. Also, I also want to say hello to our long lost Megan
Oh,
and her
Miss
new puppy.
May. We miss Miss
I'm
May.
really sad that I can't see you
know.
right
I'm
now
hoping-
because I was looking forward to
I'm
it.
hoping she comes back when we go back to none of the Zoom bullshit and we're in person. Yes, Robbie.
Oh, I was just going to say one last shout out for our listeners in YouTube. Hi to Fabricio, who says hello from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Hi from Rio.
Ooh.
Hello,
Hi,
Brazil.
Hi.
Well, everybody,
dying to
that
go to
is it for
Brazil.
us. And everybody have a great weekend. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Eddie.